Well, Jennifer Haberkorn is a healthcare reporter for Politico, and she joins me now on Capitol Hill to talk healthcare. Okay, Jennifer, Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell says that the party has not given up. Realistically, when do you think the GOP might be able to give this a try?
I don't think it's going to be anytime soon. I mean, we see House Republicans today trying to make a hard pivot to tax reform, trying to focus on something where they can score a legislative win. I mean, the Obamacare debate has taken up 9 months of the year, and they really don't have anything to show for it. I mean, we saw that even President Trump wants to keep the talk of Obamacare repeal in play, but he's having a hard time, kind of hinted that January or February could be the time they see this happen for real.
What do you make of the fact that he mentioned that today, Jennifer, saying that this could happen in January or February? Realistic? Possible?
It's possible, but you know, I think we saw Republicans had their real shot this year. They've been talking about repealing Obamacare for 7 years since the law passed. This was the year they had a president in the White House who was willing to sign a bill to repeal the health care law. They had a Republican-controlled Congress. I think if they really had a shot at this, I think it would have happened already. So that said, you know, there's a lot of Republicans that I've talked to today who say, you know, maybe people need to see a little more premium increases, and there will be groundswell of support to repeal the health law next year.
The fact, Jennifer, that the Republicans have tried to pass a health care bill. They put pressure on Republicans. Do you think that possibly they might consider working with Democrats on a bipartisan approach to get this through? Do you think that there might be a bigger window for that now?
There's a possibility, but I mean, a bipartisan Obamacare bill would look very different than one that the Republican Party alone would try to do. I mean, a bipartisan Obamacare bill would be very narrow. It would probably have some funding attached to it for insurance companies and really try to prevent the insurance markets from, or I should say the insurers from fleeing the market next year or the following year. But that said, the insurance markets next year are not all that bad. I mean, premiums are high, a lot higher than people would like, but so far we don't see any counties where there's no insurer who wants to offer coverage, and I think the markets will pretty much remain afloat next year. Beyond that, it's a totally different story.
So when you're talking about health care coverage, you're optimistic that next year will be okay. Do you feel a deadline in the markets where they will need to act, that Congress will have to do something to deal with that?
You know, it's hard to see that right now because, like I said, the insurance markets for next year look like they're going to be okay. We don't see insurers suddenly fleeing. There's no county in the country that won't have an insurer. But beyond that, it's harder to know. I mean, insurers do sign contracts for a whole year. So for 2018, they should be okay. That said, there's a lot of folks who feel like their premiums are too high. And we have seen a lot of massive premium increases. But you know, as of now, they're set in for next year, and they really can't do much to really change the premiums at this point.
Yeah, there was a concern at one point that there would be some markets that wouldn't even have any healthcare providers. So to hear you say that that won't be an issue next year is interesting. I also want to ask you the fact that Republicans have tried so hard to get this pushed forward. Is there anything that they've walked away from these failures that they feel they could cobble together in the future? The president mentioned January or February, but do you think the window is really over?
Well, you know, it's interesting because Republicans yesterday, when they announced that they wouldn't vote on their latest bill, said that there was a glimmer of hope. Senator Lisa Murkowski from Alaska, one of the Republicans who voted against the repeal efforts this summer, said that she kind of liked the proposal that was on the table this time. She just felt like the process was too rushed. They ran out of time. She didn't have all the information she needed. So that's why Republicans are saying that there's hope for next year. That said, this looks like it would be a Republican-only bill, and it's unclear whether Republicans are willing to go all through this effort again only to see it collapse. They aren't ready to promise that they can get this done. So they're walking away from the table with at least a little bit of hope that if they return to it in the future, maybe focus on tax reform for now, they might be able to get it done.
Are there any consequences, Jennifer, to waiting until next year to get this through and have a sort of rekindled effort on health care?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, this was the one thing that Republicans had promised for 7 years. In each election cycle since the 2010 election, Republicans had said, if you elect us to the White House, to Congress, we're going to repeal the Affordable Care Act and save you from this health care law. And they weren't able to do it. So there are a lot of Republicans who are getting nervous that they're going to pay a political consequence in 2018, that their voters are going to be frustrated, saying, you know, if you promised us one thing it was this and you haven't gotten it done. And I think that's why we're seeing a lot of Republicans who aren't willing to say the Obamacare repeal effort is over and that they're going to keep trying at it because they want to keep that promise out there and not tell their voters that they've given up.
Jennifer Haberkorn, healthcare reporter for Politico. Grateful you could join us, Jennifer. Thank you.